Hi Chris, we're going to do outside first this time in a break from the normal routine. So instead of analysis on the tech first, we're going to do a few shots, and I'm going to contemplate probably I think it's four big points stemming from watching your videos back. Thanks for that. Very, very useful, great inside intel. Nice stuff. Countless hours spent on the grassy area that you can see behind me, probably from the far end hitting back this way ironically, but I'm just going to clip a couple of gentle shots back towards the roadway there. You can see the departing truck there in the background. This is Haslemere Golf Club where I grew up, and it served me well, even though it's quite bland out there, not much going on. I guess I had to use my imagination a lot. I just before I sort of stick the camera on the tripod and get to business, I think the range you were using, and the interesting thing you were saying, the ball was moving two ways in the air. I mean, that is not a great sign. When balls move in more than one direction, when you don't get sort of, depending on, it might hit a dead straight shot that's got no movement on it. But if your ball starts to, say, curve to the right and then curves back to the left, that's a sign of the dimple pattern either being damaged, a little bit like a cricket ball which has had one side of it roughened up so it moves and sort of wobbles in the air. They call it a googly, I think, in cricket. So the aerodynamics of the cover of the ball is off. Presumably, perhaps, they're washed in a ball washer somewhere or whatever, and the dimple pattern probably gets a little bit smoothed out on parts of the ball, a little bit like pebbles on a beach. So you've got to watch out for that. If they're not aerodynamically sound, if they're almost smooth, if the dimple pattern's wearing off, they're not much good to us because they won't compare well to the ball that you use on the golf course. More than that, the internal construction can be a bit of if they're cheap golf balls, and I don't know with that water driving range, with it being a lake, whether they're meant to float, whether those golf balls are actually will float, and the construction means they're hollow inside. But if they're moving around all over the place, seriously, bud, I think they're practically useless to us in terms of ball flight. I'm that serious about it. If you're serious about your ball flight, I would probably not think of that driving range as a great place to do that. You can certainly work on your feels, and you can certainly work on striking that ball from the middle of the club, which I'll touch on in a second. But I think if those balls are moving around in the air, I would avoid that. I would go to a driving range that's got, I'll go to a practice area, go to a driving range that's got proper golf balls. Right, moving on. And so to a few swings. I think the first point, probably top of the shop that I would make, you said about the distance being slightly underwhelming these days of late. When I first met you, you've certainly got the capacity, apparently not always the ability, but you've got the capacity to hit the ball a very, very long way. And there was a time when you were going after it, and I think a lot of golfers, there'll be a long queue of people behind me telling you if you mishit a shot, you misdirect it, that you must slow down. Now that's fine, but I don't think it's particularly accurate vocabulary. If you took I'll send you a video link to this point, which will just avoid me having to elaborate too much. You can watch that as a separate thing, and for entertainment, I'm sure you'll have some golfing video watching set aside. Most people do. Instead of relying on the algorithm to present you with something that's relevant, I would suggest I shall do that, and it'll be much more, it'll strike a chord. The essence of it is this: if you take something like a weight on the end of a string, a tennis ball attached to the end of a string, and you start swinging it around above your head like you're a helicopter, then your awareness of it is based on its movement. You can feel the centripetal force that you're creating. You may not need to give it a name, but it's a sensation you can carry around with you the whole time. You never really forget it. Nobody's really going to have difficulty doing that. I mean, there's a danger you might hit yourself in the head, but that's not because of the speed you're doing it. You could actually swing that thing around as fast as you can, as long as it's still a swing, as in you're delivering that power smoothly and evenly. All right, so that's really the essence of what I think's happened. Is you've hit pay dirt when it comes to striking the ball out of the middle. And I think your swing looks super graceful and elegant at the moment, but if you want more power, once you've established that grace and that elegance and that smoothness, that gives you awareness of the club, which is why you'll strike it satisfactorily, but it will starve the swing of energy. So you can't have both. You need to fuel your swing with energy and be energetic with your swing. Swing faster, if that's the word we're going to use, but don't lose the smoothness and the evenness. If the fast turns into violence and haphazardness and contrivance, and, you know, thrashing and wrenching around, then you're not going to retain the sensory control and awareness of the club. If you're swinging evenly and smoothly and continuously, you can do it slowly and you can hit pay dirt. You can bump into some really good stuff and track the middle of the club, of course, without being able to see it, which is an occupational hazard of being a golfer. You swing the club at an energy level, even when it's slow, you still can't see it. So you'll use smoothness and grace and elegance and evenness and continuousness in the nature of your swing as an overall, what I call a dynamic fundamental. So that's why it's looking good. Now, if you want to up the energy level in that, be my guest. You know, grab a basket of balls and see how energetically you can still deliver a smooth, even, continuous swing. I have to say, I can't resist it, but I really think the second point, I really think that what you consider a short swing is about the right length. I think you were saying, oh, this is my short swing. I think it had all the constituent component parts that I would expect. Fundamentally, if you want to reach the destination in your backswing, which is what often people construe about the length of their swing, if you put a wrist hinge of 90 degrees or so, you know, that right angle there, and a rotation of 90 degrees or so, from there to there, so from here to there, and then you rotate your upper body 90 degrees or so, which is again quite standard human capacity for that. Me and Chris will be able to do that. We put those together in this order, 1, 2, 3, you'll end up about here, forearms sort of relatively close together. We haven't added the additional sort of forearm separation, and that suddenly gets you over swinging and things of that nature. We don't see this right leg straightening business that we saw, so really, really good. And again, you might think of it as smaller and more contrite and less complex, I hope, would be the main achievement. But I think what you call short is normal length. And I think you're certainly poised to be able to deliver more energy in your swing, but without adding extra complexity, extra moving parts, which again have a habit of making it feel less and smaller, shorter. So I like what you're doing there. I would keep doing your short swing. But I would do it more energetically, is the culmination of those 2 points. Okay, I think when it comes to your impact conditions, still decent. I do sense there's a slight tendency when I watch you for this knee to move forwards, and that probably flatters the amount of rotation you're using, but it's still decent. I insist that you, and I'll put a screenshot, I think, next to this, of one of my favourite golfers from when I was growing up, a guy called David Duval, former world #1 American golfer, and yeah, he just has this beautiful appearance that his club's on the side of his body when he strikes, and a fantastic ball striker he still is. I think when I'm contemplating your swing and impetuses in terms of technical stuff, I think you've done an awful lot in a short space of time. So I think when you set up, I don't see anything down the line that really gives me pause for thought. It's the dynamic stuff that I've just talked about that is really, really important. So when you're down the line, as I am in this predicament, the only continuity that I would worry about when it comes to morphing your style from the range to the course is perhaps you're just obediently following the mat, which is fine if you've got a mat to point you towards the target the whole time. When you go out and play on a golf course, the target's moving around. So I would pay a bit of attention. I'm just going to grab something from my bag here while I'm talking to you. I'd pay a